Hey, Betty, are you ready? Ready to dive into something pretty wild?
I think so.
We're going to be looking at hypno-channeling.
Yeah.
Hypno-channeling. It's you take someone, you hypnotize them, and then they can connect to a higher consciousness.
Right.
And receive messages from a channeled energy source.
Mm-hmm.
So think of it as like tapping into this universal wisdom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be looking at this YouTube video.
Okay.
It's from Hypno Vibes. You know Hypno Vibes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that channel.
It features a hypnotherapist, Naomi, and a channeler named Navi.
Okay.
And the video is called Channeling Dreams and Lost Souls.
Interesting.
And it is it's jam-packed with all kinds of interesting insights.
I bet.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I think is so interesting about this is that they explore these deep concepts
Oh, yeah.
using an actual session
Yes.
of hypno-channeling.
Yeah. And right off the bat,
Okay.
we were just thrown into this dream
Okay.
that Naomi has.
Uh-huh.
And she sees her attorney, John, moving into this building
Oh, wow.
that's filled with low-income residents.
Huh.
And it's just like,
Yeah.
it seems very random.
Right.
But the channeled energy through Navi is suggesting that it's like a nudge
Oh.
from the universe,
Okay.
encouraging her to dig deeper.
So I think what I find interesting is that the interpretation doesn't really focus on the literal aspect of the dream.
Right.
It's not really about John moving
Yeah.
or the building itself.
Right.
It's more about that feeling
Yes.
that it evokes in Naomi.
Yes, exactly.
It's that curiosity, that need to understand
Yeah.
what it means.
Right. And then you've got this color symbolism,
Oh, yeah.
which is, another layer.
Okay.
We've got pink.
Yeah.
And pink is associated with the land of fairies.
Uh-huh.
And it triggers this very strong emotional response in Naomi. But she can't quite articulate what those emotions are.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really fascinating for me.
Yeah.
You're bypassing the conscious mind
Right.
to tap into this deeper
Yes.
well
yes.
of knowledge or intuition.
Right. It's not about Naomi's personal memories or her interpretation.
Right.
It's about accessing this universal consciousness through Navi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she's a conduit
Right.
for this universal energy
Right.
to communicate
Uh-huh.
with Naomi's subconscious.
Right. So like Navi is like a bridge.
Exactly.
Right.
And the colors and the imagery. In the dream, these are like messages
Right.
from this higher consciousness.
Yeah, guiding her toward a greater understanding
Exactly.
of herself and her path.
Yeah.
And then you have the red house
Okay.
at the end of the spiral staircase.
Right.
And that really stands out
Yeah.
because the video suggests that it might represent a perceived dead end. But could it be something else?
Right. And that's where, a little bit of healthy skepticism comes in.
Right.
Because they're presenting this one interpretation.
Yeah.
But it's worth considering other perspectives.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the red house,
Yeah.
instead of being an obstacle, symbolizes transformation.
Oh.
Because, red
Yeah.
is often associated with passion and energy,
Uh-huh.
rebirth.
So maybe it's not about reaching a dead end,
Right.
but rather it's about a point
Yeah.
where she needs to shed these old patterns
Right.
and embrace a new phase.
Exactly.
Yes.
And this is where critical thinking comes in.
Right.
When you're exploring these concepts, it's really crucial to be open to different interpretations and question the assumptions.
Yes.
Even if they're coming from this seemingly spiritual source.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And this idea of questioning assumptions, I think, is especially relevant when we get to John's role
Yeah.
in Naomi's life. Right.
Because the video suggests that he brings this peace and balance to her potentially overexcited nature.
And this is where I think, understanding how hypno-channeling works is
Yeah.
really important because
Yeah.
if we believe it connects to this source of universal wisdom,
Right.
then this message about John is more than just, an observation
Right.
about their personalities.
Right.
It's a piece of guidance. It's like Naomi needs this grounding influence to effectively.
Right. So it's almost like the universe is saying,
Yes.
like, hey, Naomi, you might want to, dial it down a bit.
Yes.
And John's presence can help you do that.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
Because it suggests that the people who enter our lives,
Right?
the relationships we form, they may have this deeper purpose
Yes.
related to our spiritual growth.
It's like the universe is orchestrating these encounters to help us evolve.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's a very interesting way.
It is. It makes you think about your own relationships in a whole new light.
Yeah. Now I'm curious about this idea of complementary energies.
Yeah.
Which the video touches upon when it discusses Tina,
Okay.
Navi, and Jessica.
Yeah. This is a key concept.
Yeah.
It deserves more exploration.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about John balancing Naomi's energy.
Right.
They say that Tina and Navia, you know, the hypnotist and the channeler, they have calm energy,
Right.
which seems to be essential for creating this space,
Right.
for this merging of energies.
And then there's Jessica,
Right.
who's described as having this bouncing energy, always striving for higher potential.
Right.
So how does she fit into this?
That's a good question.
All right, Betty, how do you relate? Do you feel like you're more, that calm and grounded, or are you driven and constantly seeking?
It's so interesting because it suggests that different personality types are drawn to different aspects of spirituality.
Yeah.
Maybe those who are seeking peace and stability find that in meditation, mindfulness,
Right.
while those who thrive on challenge and growth are drawn to things like hypnochanneling,
Right.
pushing the boundaries
Yeah.
of consciousness.
It's like there are many paths up the mountain,
Yeah,
and each one resonates with a different kind of seeker.
exactly. And the diversity of approaches is what makes exploring this stuff so fun.
It is.
You know, there's no one-size-fits-all
Right.
method.
Yeah.
And each individual has their own way of connecting to the divine.
Right. And now we're approaching a very unexpected turn.
Oh, really?
The revelation of lost souls
Okay.
attaching themselves to Naomi's office.
Whoa.
Yeah. Talk about a plot twist.
That's a big one.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like now we're taking a deep dive into this more, esoteric aspect of hypnochanneling.
Right.
It's raising this question of, if we can access this universal consciousness,
Yeah.
what else might we encounter?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Suddenly we're not just talking about dream interpretation,
That's right.
personal growth.
Right.
We're stepping into this realm
Right.
where the boundaries between, physical and
Yeah.
spiritual,
Yes.
they're blurred.
It's important to remember that this is presented as information that is received through this channeled energy.
Right.
Not Naomi's personal beliefs
Right.
or her imagination.
So we're being asked to consider the possibility that there are energies or maybe even consciousnesses
Yeah,
that exist beyond our normal perception.
that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that those energies can be drawn to certain people or places
Yeah.
for reasons that we may not totally get.
Yeah.
Okay, so the video clarifies that these lost souls, they're not evil spirits,
Okay.
but they are drawn to her work because it offers them hope.
Hope for what?
Right, what does that mean?
It's a good question.
Hope for what?
Yeah.
This is where the concept of transformation needs some clarification.
Yeah.
Are these souls seeking reincarnation?
Right.
Are they trying to evolve to a higher spiritual plane? The video kind of leaves it open,
Right.
but it does suggest that Naomi's work,
Yeah.
perhaps by tapping into this universal energy, offers them some kind of, advancement or resolution.
So they're not stuck.
Maybe.
They're seeking a way to progress
Yeah.
on their spiritual journey. And they see her as a potential,
Guide. Facilitator.
like, hey, we're on a similar wavelength.
Yeah.
Maybe you can help us get to the next level.
It's a fascinating idea.
It is.
It really challenges our understanding of what it means to be connected to this,
Yeah.
Spiritual realm.
Yeah.
It's not just about our own personal growth.
Right.
It might also involve interacting with, or maybe even assisting other consciousnesses.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It is a big one.
Yeah.
And then the channeled message emphasizes that Naomi has a choice in how she interacts with these souls.
She can help them transform by entering this deeper state before sleep, or she can leave them be.
Interesting.
So what does that deeper state even entail?
I know.
And how does it facilitate transformation?
Yeah, it's vague on the specifics.
Right.
But it implies this level of consciousness that is, beyond our normal waking awareness.
Right.
So maybe it's like a lucid dream state where there's this heightened sense of awareness and control.
Right. But with that added element of being connected to this universal consciousness.
So it's not just her intention.
Right.
She's tapping into a higher power
Right.
or source of energy that is facilitating this
Right.
transformation.
Like she's a conduit.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Channeling this universal energy to create these optimal conditions
Wow.
for them to evolve.
So I wonder, if different traditions and practices might have different ways of accessing these deeper states.
That's a good point.
Like, could it be similar to the trance states achieved in like shamanic rituals or certain types of meditation?
It's certainly possible.
Yeah.
I mean, this highlights the interconnectedness of, all these different spiritual paths.
Right.
They use different techniques.
Yeah.
They use different language.
Yeah.
But they're often describing very similar experiences.
We're all trying to climb the same mountain, but we're just taking different routes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what's beautiful about it.
It is.
Each path offers these unique insights and perspectives, which really enrich your understanding.
So we've talked about these lost souls,
Okay.
but let's circle back
Yeah.
to the beginning.
Okay.
We started with Naomi's dream
Right?
about her attorney, John,
Yeah.
and this red house at the end of a spiral staircase.
That's right.
And this dream is a great example of how hypnochanneling can be used to unlock hidden meanings and gain deeper self-awareness.
Right.
The video suggests that the spiral staircase represents a journey of self-discovery, and the red house might symbolize this perceived obstacle.
But like we said before,
Yeah.
it's important to consider other interpretations.
Yeah.
Maybe that red house isn't an obstacle at all.
Right.
Maybe it's a threshold,
Right.
a point of transition.
Right. So instead of a dead end,
Yeah.
it's a breakthrough, a new beginning.
Yeah.
And red is the color of passion and courage,
Right.
transformation.
So maybe the channeled energy
yeah.
is encouraging her to, step outside her comfort zone,
Yeah.
to embrace the unknown.
Yeah. To push beyond those perceived limitations.
Like, hey, there's a whole other level waiting for you.
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready?
Wow.
It's powerful.
It is.
It speaks to that transformative potential that is in all of us.
Absolutely.
It's just dormant.
The video also highlights John's role in her life,
Right.
suggesting that he brings this sense of balance to her potentially overexcited nature.
Yeah. And, again, that concept of complementary energies, it's not just about her toning down her energy.
Right.
It's about finding that support
Yeah.
to channel it effectively.
Right. So John's presence helps her ground her enthusiasm,
Exactly.
focus her intention.
That's right.
I see.
It's interesting to consider how this might play out in their professional relationship.
Oh, yeah?
If her work involves tapping into these powerful spiritual energies,
Yeah.
having someone like him there
Uh-huh.
could be a stabilizing influence,
Right.
helping her stay grounded,
Right.
navigate those energies safely.
It's like a built-in safety net.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Making sure she doesn't get swept away by the intensity of it all.
Exactly. It highlights the importance of surrounding ourselves with people who complement our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Especially when we're venturing into uncharted territory.
Right. It's like the whole thing is really emphasizing this interconnectedness,
It is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything,
Yeah.
from the people in our lives
Yeah.
to the energies we encounter.
Right.
It's like this giant web.
It is like a web. It's
Yeah.
all connected.
Right. And it suggests that there's like this deeper meaning and purpose to all of our experiences.
Yes.
Even the ones that seem random or, insignificant.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like we're all pieces of this giant puzzle.
Yeah.
And when we come together in just the right way,
Yeah.
this beautiful picture emerges.
Right.
And that picture, it might be constantly evolving as we're learning and growing,
Yeah, that's right.
connecting with others on our path.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to touch on this advice that the channeled energy gives Naomi about communication.
Oh, yeah.
It emphasizes this need for clarity
Yeah.
and being concise, especially when she's sharing spiritual insight.
Yeah, that's valuable for anyone,
Yeah, including you, Betty.
Yeah. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement
Oh, yeah.
of a new discovery
Yes.
and overwhelm people
Yeah.
with too much information.
It's like when you're trying to explain a dream to someone and they just completely glaze over
Right.
because you're going into way too much detail.
Way too much detail. Yeah.
The key is to find that balance
Yeah.
between passion and clarity.
Yes.
To share our insights in a way that's both engaging and accessible.
Right.
So it's not about dumbing it down,
Right.
but finding that right language
Yeah.
and approach to connect with our audience.
And that's where the skill of the channeler comes in.
Right.
They need to be able to translate those messages
Yes.
from this higher consciousness into a language that we can understand.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like they're a translator between two worlds,
Exactly.
bridging that gap between the spiritual and the mundane.
That's beautiful.
And it highlights the importance of finding teachers and guides who can help us navigate these complex realms. And it's like having a map and a compass when you're venturing into uncharted territory.
Exactly. And the journey can be so exhilarating, but also so challenging.
It can.
Filled with twists and turns.
Yes.
You never know what's going to happen.
But the rewards are immense.
They are.
As we discover these hidden truths
Yeah.
about ourselves and the nature of reality.
That's right.
And those discoveries,
Yeah.
they might not always come in, neat little packages.
Right.
Or, easy to understand explanations.
Right.
Sometimes it's about embracing the mystery.
Yes.
Trusting the process.
That's right.
Allowing the journey to just unfold naturally.
Exactly. And that's where the adventure begins.
That's where it begins.
Yeah. So, Betty, before we move on, I want to go back to the idea of Naomi's choice.
Okay.
Because it really speaks to the ethical dimension of this,
For sure.
of hypnochanneling.
Yeah, it would be easy to assume that, helping these lost souls is inherently a good thing.
Right.
But the video's like, no.
It's not that simple.
Yeah.
It really emphasizes that she has free will.
Right.
She's not obligated to help.
Yeah.
And it's okay if she chooses not to.
Wow.
It raises these questions about the potential impact,
Right.
of engaging with these energies.
Yeah.
And whether it's always appropriate or even beneficial.
It's like a reminder that with any spiritual practice, especially one that's dealing with these potentially powerful energies, there's a need for discernment and respect for boundaries.
Absolutely.
It's not about imposing our will on others, even if we think we're helping.
Exactly. And it brings up this question of consent.
Oh, wow.
Can these lost souls truly consent to being transformed?
Right.
Do they even understand what she might be facilitating?
Right. Yeah.
These are complex ethical
They are.
considerations.
Yeah, it's almost like a cautionary tale woven into this, fascinating exploration.
Yeah.
It's saying, hey, this stuff is powerful.
Right.
And you need to approach it
Carefully.
with a sense of responsibility and awareness.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's not about fear-mongering.
Oh.
It's about encouraging a mindful and respectful approach.
Yeah, now I'm really curious about this deeper state
Yeah.
that she's encouraged to enter before sleep.
Right.
Is it like superpowered meditation?
I don't know.
Or is it something else entirely?
Yeah, the video doesn't really give us a clear definition,
Right.
but it seems to imply this level of consciousness that's beyond, normal waking awareness.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like a lucid dream state where there's that heightened sense of awareness and control.
Yeah. But with this added element of being connected to that universal consciousness.
Exactly.
So maybe it's not just about her personal intention,
Right.
but also about tapping into like a higher power or source of energy that's facilitating the transformation.
That's interesting.
It is. Yeah. I wonder if different traditions or practices,
Right.
might have different ways of accessing these deeper states.
Yeah.
Like, could it be similar to the trance states
Right.
that are achieved in shamanic rituals or certain forms of meditation?
It's possible.
Yeah.
And this just highlights that interconnectedness of all these different spiritual paths.
Yeah. Even though they might use different techniques or language
Right.
to describe similar experiences, it's like we're all trying to climb the same mountain,
Yeah.
just taking different routes.
That's right. And that's what's so cool about it.
It is.
Each path offers unique insights and perspectives
Yeah.
that really, enrich our understanding of the whole.
Okay. So we've talked about the lost souls, but let's circle back to the beginning.
All right.
We started with her dream about her attorney, John,
Yeah,
and that mysterious red house at the end of the spiral staircase.
that's right.
And that dream is a great example of how hypno-channeling can be used to unlock hidden meanings.
Right. And gain deeper self-awareness.
Exactly.
The video suggests that the spiral staircase represents that journey of self-discovery. And the red house might symbolize a perceived obstacle.
Yep. But
Yeah.
as we said before,
Yeah.
it's important to consider other interpretations.
Right.
Maybe that red house isn't an obstacle at all.
Right.
Maybe it's a threshold,
Oh.
a point of transition.
Okay, so instead of a dead end,
Yeah.
it symbolizes a breakthrough.
Right.
A new beginning.
Exactly. And red is often associated with passion, courage,
Yeah.
transformation.
It's like the universe is saying, hey, there's a whole new level waiting for you.
Right.
Are you ready to step into it?
That's a powerful message.
It is.
And it really speaks to that transformative potential that's,
Right.
dormant within each of us.
Absolutely. Now, the video also highlights John's role in her life,
Yeah.
suggesting that he brings a sense of balance to her potentially overexcited nature.
Right. And here we go again with these complementary energies.
Yeah. It's not just about her toning down her energy.
Right.
It's about finding that support
Right.
to channel it effectively.
So John's presence
Yeah.
helps her ground her enthusiasm
Exactly.
and focus her intention.
That's right. And it's interesting to think about how this might play out,
Yeah.
in their professional relationship.
For sure.
If her work involves tapping into these powerful spiritual energies,
Yeah.
having someone like John there could be a stabilizing influence,
Right.
helping her to stay grounded
Yeah.
and navigate those energies safely.
It's like a built-in safety net.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Making sure that she doesn't get swept away by the intensity.
Yeah. And it highlights how important it is to surround ourselves
Yes.
with people who complement our strengths and weaknesses,
Yes.
especially when we're, going into unknown territory.
Right. This whole session is really emphasizing that interconnectedness,
It is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
from the people in our lives
Right.
to the energies that we encounter.
It's all part of this larger web.
It's like a giant web.
It's all connected.
And it suggests that there's a deeper meaning and purpose
Yes.
to all of our experiences.
Yeah.
Even the ones that seem random or insignificant.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like we're all pieces of a giant puzzle.
Yeah.
And when we come together in just the right way,
Yeah.
this beautiful picture emerges.
Right. And that picture might be constantly evolving
Yeah.
as we're learning and growing.
Connecting with others on our path.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to touch on that advice
Okay.
that the channeled energy gives her about communication.
Okay.
It emphasizes the need for clarity
Yeah.
and being concise, especially when she's sharing spiritual insights.
That's such a valuable lesson for anyone
It is.
exploring these concepts.
Including you, Betty.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up
Oh, yeah.
in the excitement of a new discovery
Yeah.
and just overwhelm people
Totally.
with too much information or jargon.
It's like when you try to explain a dream to someone and they completely glaze over
Exactly.
because you're going into way too much detail.
Way too much detail.
Yeah, the key is to find that balance between passion
Right.
and clarity,
Yeah.
to share our insights
Yeah.
in a way that's both engaging
Yeah.
and accessible.
And that's where the skill of the channeler comes in.
Yeah.
They need to be able to translate those messages
Yeah.
from the higher consciousness
Right.
into a language that we can understand and
Right.
relate to.
It's like being a translator between two worlds.
Exactly.
Bridging that gap between the spiritual and the mundane.
Beautiful.
And it highlights the importance of finding teachers and guides
Yeah.
who can help us navigate
Absolutely.
these complex realms.
Yes.
It's like having a map and a compass
Right.
when you're venturing into uncharted territory.
Exactly. And that journey can be so exhilarating,
It can.
but also so challenging.
Yeah.
Filled with twists and turns.
Yeah.
You just never know what's going to happen.
But the rewards can be immense
They are.
as we discover these hidden truths
Yeah.
about ourselves and the nature of reality.
That's right. And those discoveries might not always come in these neat little packages
Right.
or easy to understand explanations.
Yeah, sometimes it's about embracing the mystery,
Absolutely.
trusting the process,
Yes.
allowing the journey to just unfold naturally.
And that's where the real adventure begins.
That's where it begins. So, Betty, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into hypno-channeling,
We have.
from dream interpretation to the presence of lost souls.
Yeah.
It's been quite a journey.
It really shows you just how broad and deep all this is.
Yeah.
When we start exploring these alternative states of consciousness.
And it makes you wonder, like, what else is out there
Right.
beyond what we normally perceive?
But the video just offers us a glimpse
Right.
into this world.
Yeah.
There are so many other practices and traditions
Uh-huh.
that explore these realms,
Well,
each
say-
with its own, unique perspectives and techniques.
Yeah, it's like we've opened this door
Yes.
to this vast and mysterious landscape,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just starting to,
We're just getting started.
explore its possibilities.
That's right. And that exploration can be so exciting,
Yeah.
but also daunting.
Yeah.
It's important to approach these things with skepticism,
Uh-huh. Right.
critical thinking,
Yeah.
a healthy respect for the unknown.
The video itself encourages that,
It does.
especially when it comes to interacting with energies or entities beyond our understanding.
Right. That emphasis on Naomi's choice.
Yeah.
Her free will in deciding to help or not help those lost souls.
Right.
It's a reminder that we're not just,
Right.
passive recipients of this information. We have agency
We do.
and we need to use it wisely.
It's like we're being given a really powerful tool,
Yes.
and we have to learn how to handle it responsibly
Right.
and ethically,
Exactly.
understanding, its potential benefits and risks.
And that learning process, often involves trial and error.
Right.
Seeking guidance from those who know more than us.
Yeah.
And trusting our own intuition.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to touch on one final point that stuck with me.
Okay.
The video mentions that Naomi, the hypnotherapist,
Right.
has a book series
Oh, yeah.
called The Next Level,
Yeah. I've heard.
available on Amazon.
Yeah. It focuses on raising consciousness
Yeah.
and exploring those deeper levels of self-awareness.
So it's like a continuation of our deep dive,
It is.
offering a more structured and in-depth exploration.
Yeah. And Betty, this is just the beginning
It is.
of your exploration.
Yeah.
There's so much out there.
There is.
Just waiting to be discovered.
Yeah. If you're open to it.
That's the key.
So keep asking questions.
Yes.
Keep seeking those answers and keep trusting the journey.
You never know what you might find.
Who knows what incredible insights and transformations
All right.
await you along the way.
That's right. The adventure's just beginning.
The person who is speaking as the hypnotist is Naomi, and the channeler is Navi, Navi. So I like to invite the energy or whatever the appropriate energy that I can explain. I had a dream last night, and I saw my attorney is moving to a different location of his office. And there are other things that bizarre, and I like to speak with this energy for you to explain to me. So when I count to 3, you'll be here. 1, coming through this body. 2, almost here, and 3.
Hello.
Yes, very good. Thank you for being here. And
Of course.
who I'm speaking with?
Your higher self.
Oh, thank you for being here. And I had this kind of weird dream, and I saw my attorney John. He's moving to a different building, but it's kind of interesting, the building that I look at the building and I said, oh, he told me before, this is the building that people who cannot afford to pay their rent will come here. And wow, what happened to him? And so what is this dream is about?
It's to keep you wondering.
Keep me wondering
Yes.
why that's necessary?
Answers that you want or that you are seeking.
That's interesting. But why John is involved?
He wanted to play that part.
Interesting. And then I was trying to find him, and I went to this spiral staircase kind of place, and I remember the pink color wallpaper, and then I saw there's also a red color house down there, and when I got there, I felt very emotional.
Connection to those colors or,
So the colors are from other times.
yes,
I felt this,
especially the pink.
right, but why I feel emotional, but I cannot say it's really positive, but it's very strong emotion.
Since I'm getting for the pink, similar to the person sitting next to you,
Oh, Tina?
land of fairies.
What? Say one more time.
Land of fairies, the fairy people,
So
that connection is associated with that color.
I see. But then I saw this red house, like at the end of this spiral staircase, but it seems like a dead end. It doesn't go to anywhere.
That's what your mind wants to think
So just keep me
and wonder. Yes.
So it's like a game.
As all things are. Yeah.
Right. And John is interesting that
He wanted to play that part. Yeah.
So of course, this John, on the human level, he has no idea
Correct.
Right. So I know him for many lifetimes.
Correct.
So again, in this life, what kind of role he's playing in my life, or vice versa?
It's to give you a sense of peace for yourself. You tend to overexcite yourself, which,
Oh, really?
yes.
Overexcite myself?
Yes.
That's not good?
Not at certain times, no.
Ah, really? So what I do to overexcite myself? You cannot tell me, or it's complicated?
What is it that you want to know?
So what kind of things I do to overexcite myself?
The feelings that you have are too extremes at times. Need to be mellowed down and make it just enough to have the message, of course, but not too much that will leave the person or people confused.
I see. I understand. I think I understand what you're saying, because I can be very excited about talking about certain topics or concepts.
Yes.
And yes, I do feel John is someone who can give me certain peace. I just center myself or balance myself.
Yes.
And I feel, let's say, the person next to me now, Tina, also has this very calm energy.
It is necessary. It is to give a completion on the merging of energies.
And also Navi, the person you're in the body with.
He also has that kind of peacefulness about him.
See, right? I can say another person, probably Jessica, she's not like that. I can feel her energy is bouncing, but we still can get along.
As you have for some time. But you are correct, not the same to you or anyone in this room at this time. Hers is continuing on reaching her potential, never stopping, always wanting to.
I'm not too sure if I understand what you just said.
Jessica is always reaching towards her highest potential, never wanting to be satisfied on being the same as she is the day, on that particular day. The next day she feels as if she should be a small percentage greater than how she was the day before.
I see. That's also how I feel about myself, but maybe not in the same way.
Not in the same way, yes.
Right. So what do you say about this office? Has a lot of lost souls. So it seems like they're happy here. They're playing or just maybe stay here temporarily.
Being themselves, do not need to be concerned about that.
So I feel this itchiness. That's also not something I need to be concerned about.
No, you do not. Just manage the best way you can.
And I can, let's say, before I go to sleep, if I go to a deeper state, maybe I can help them to transform.
If that is your wish,
So if I'm making
you
that
can leave
intention,
them the way the state that they're in. You don't have to have any input, but if you choose to give your energy to it, you can.
so it's up to me. If I don't do anything, it's okay too.
Leave them the way they are.
But what they are doing, let's say, on someone's body,
Physical form has not been there for them for some time, so they want to have that sensation, physical body.
but thinking about this is a little bit like, wow, I got a lot of souls attached to my body.
It doesn't matter, but your work that you do attracts them because they know that what you do gives them hope.